then I think we're going to start the meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Due to the COVID-19 health emergency, and in order for the Board of Education to conduct its business, this board meeting is being held via video conference and streamed live on YouTube on the district website at www.ebnet.org. In addition, members of the public may provide comment at this meeting through Zoom by entering the URL, meeting ID, and password you see before you on the screen. Upon joining the meeting, your participation will be muted to ensure that there is no disruption to the business being conducted by the Board of Education. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Carangelo.
Here.
Mrs. Chu.
Here.
Mr. Sismar.
Here.
Mr. Hong.
Here.
Mrs. Lax.
Here.
Mrs. Guas. Mrs. Reese.
Here.
Mr. Winston. I see Mr. Winston. Yes. And President Becker.
Here, we have a quorum. Please rise to salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United
States
of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies. In accordance with provisions of this act, the East Brunswick Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published at the Board of Education office. Written notice was also provided to the Sentinel, the Newark Star Ledger, the Home News and Tribune, and the Municipal Clerk of East Brunswick. All Board of Education meetings, with the exception of executive session discussions, are videotaped for later broadcast. It is the policy of the Board of Education that videotape meetings are not edited for any purpose, so individuals who speak at the board's public meeting should be aware of these videotaping rules. Good evening. We're going to start off this evening, as we always do, with the superintendent's report. Dr. Valesky.
Thank you, President Becker, and good evening to everyone. Tonight, I want to reassure the East Brunswick school community that in addition to returning to full days of instruction, we will be integrating all the activities and student experiences that were enjoyed before the onset of the COVID pandemic. We will accomplish this methodically using data like we did last school year to make adjustments along the way that protect our school community populations, but still with a focus on safely returning students to school and once again giving them and their families the full East Brunswick Public Schools experience. Congratulations tonight to Mr. Joseph Crotchfeld, Director of Financial Services, Mrs. Tara Roseving, Senior Manager, and the entire Finance Department. The district has been awarded the ASBO International Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting Award for the eighth consecutive year. This is a testament to the diligence and high quality work the Financial Services Department team puts forth every single day. And I want to thank Mr. Bernardo Giuliana, who is the business administrator for the district, and for having the vision and foresight to create a financial services department structure that supports excellence and recruits the best talent. It should be a comfort to the East Brunswick community that our finance department represents the highest caliber of fiscal transparency and accountability of taxpayer resources. Congratulations to them.
Thank you, Dr. Valesky.
Well deserved. As the summer winds down, I'd like to remind everyone of some important dates. Student information forms will be available through Parent Access tomorrow, Friday, August 20th, beginning at 3 p.m. Please take a few minutes to fill out these important annual forms. Tomorrow, I will also send school opening guidance along with answers to the questions we have received by email as part of my routine East Brunswick Public Schools update. Student schedules and teacher assignments will be available through Parent Access on Friday, August 27th at 3 p.m. And orientation for all schools will be held the week of August 30th. Bus passes will be available through Parent Access on Monday, August 30th after 3 p.m. If you do not have internet access, please contact the school's main office to obtain copies of these important documents and forms. And finally, we knew it was coming. Thursday, September 9th is the first day of school for all students. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Valesky. And I'd like to echo congratulations on our finance team with an outstanding accomplishment to be recognized 8 years in a row for fiscal excellence. Thank you to all of you. And now it's time for the good of the cause for the public. Members of the public may provide comment at this meeting through Zoom by entering the URL, meeting ID, and password you see before you on the screen. In order to be recognized, use the chat feature. Select the Zoom meeting host, then enter and send your name to the host. You will be recognized to speak when your name is called, and individuals will be invited to speak in the order in which we have received your request. I'm going to repeat that. Understand if you raise your hand or make any motion, we don't see everyone on screen, you won't be recognized. In order to be recognized, use the chat feature, select the Zoom meeting host, then enter and send your name to the host. I'd also like to remind the public that the Board of Ed recognizes that this is the time for the public to come speak to the board. Please don't mistake our silence for anything other than respectful listening. This is your time to come talk to us, not to get into a dialogue with the board. This isn't a town meeting. All questions that anyone asks at the good of the cause, Dr. Valesky will make sure your questions are addressed by the relevant administrator as soon as possible. Again, we're here to listen to you. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. To protect the privacy of all students and staff, concerns regarding individual students and staff members should generally be addressed by first meeting with the appropriate administrative staff. Participants will be limited to 3 minutes speaking duration. Is there anyone wishing to speak to the board?
Yes, Mrs. Becker. First, we have Oleg Dulin.
Good evening, Oleg.
Hi, hi, Dr. Valesky. We exchanged emails. Hi, my name is Oleg Dulin. I live at 13 Lycoming Lane, East Brunswick, New Jersey. I don't want to get into a debate over vaccine efficacy or masks with other families. I don't even want to debate freedoms or responsibilities either. I'm here to state for the record that I'm here to support the mask mandate. And I also want the board to know that many of my friends, neighbors, and family agree with me as well. My reasoning is simple and logical. Yes, we all want choices. Everybody who opposes masks says they want choices. We want choices also. Not sending my kids to in-person school is not a choice. Schools closing because of a COVID outbreak is not a valid option to us either. Everyone wants choices. Vaccinating your child is a choice, as any other, as some parents say. In fact, it is, but that choice is not available to me or to other families of kids under 12. In the absence of vaccines, our choices are limited or non-existent. Masks only work if everyone is wearing them. The choices, therefore, are between all kids at school and all staff wearing masks to protect one another and the community at large, or a very real possibility of schools going back to virtual, which would not be acceptable to to my household, to my family. Therefore, until vaccines are available, I fully support mask mandate as the only logical choice. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else wishing to speak to the board, Bernie?
Yes, next we have James Carr.
Good evening, James.
Hey, excuse me, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, hopefully I can make this quick here. So on August 14th, Superintendent Valesky sent out an email or sent out a message. Basically said, regardless of your beliefs, by last June, the rapid decline of positive COVID-19 cases in our schools is a direct vaccinations of masking and vaccinations was undeniable. So first of all, Superintendent Valesky, I find that kind of condescending, but kind of insulting. The superintendent, in essence, is looking at each parent and student of the district in the eye and basically saying, I don't care in your beliefs, I don't care in your evidence, I don't care what your doctors have to say, I don't care what your scientists have to say, you don't matter. The only belief that the superintendent seems to think that matters is his and those of the governor. The superintendent provides zero data to back up his undeniable beliefs on masking. The governor's executive order also provides zero data. No state agency to date has provided data. I have data. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be sending to the board 23 studies to argue harms of extended mask use. I'll also be sending the board 29 studies that suggest masks, both surgical and cloth, are ineffective in reducing transmission. I urge the board and the superintendent to read at least a handful of these. Basically, what this really boils down to is a dictatorial imposition of a medical device on our children without our informed consent. I think the burden of proof that full day masking poses no danger to the kids of East Brunswick now lies with the superintendent and the board. The superintendent and the board also bear the responsibility, also bear the liabilities should any harm befall any student as a result of the mask mandate. And as a reminder to everybody, the superintendent is an elected, non-voting member of the board. The community's expectations of you, the board, the representatives, is not just to rubber stamp the beliefs of an unelected superintendent. But to the board, I'd like to read a section, these three of the fundamentals of school board membership, and it basically states the board members who are community representatives means representing the entire community, not just the area in which they live, their particular supporters. Board members have a responsibility to listen to all citizens, explain to those with a particular point of view the needs of the school system as a whole. So the community strongly urges the board to hold a vote to decide to ask the governor to rescind his punitive mandate. The Wall School District has courage. The Howell School District has courage. They ask the governor to rescind. For those of you with courage to stand with our children, we will support you. Those of you who lack courage, we will vote you out. What are you guys going to do when my children start getting sick from wearing these masks? What is the plan? You guys always have a choice. Accepting the consequences of your choices is going to tell the community where your obedience lies, with the state or with our kids. Thanks for your time, guys.
I'm sorry, sir, were you done?
He was finished, Mrs. Becker.
Okay, thank you very much. And the next person wishing to speak to the board?
Yes, we have Arlene Shoemaker.
Hello, Arlene.
Mrs. Shoemaker, you will need to, there you go.
I'd like to address the board in favor of the mask mandate. It is the only proven device we have for children under 12 that will allow them to go to school safely so that they themselves don't get sick and they don't bring this illness home to their family members. There are many children in our community, including the child in my own home who will go to first grade this year, who live in a multi-generational household. So this is not just parents and children, this is also grandparents as well. We can see with clear evidence the result of choice for masks around the country in states such as Florida and Texas and Arizona, Mississippi, Arkansas, where the governor himself has expressed regret in signing a mask mandate ban. He is trying to get the legislation there to reverse that decision. So I am, again, in support of the mask mandate. I request that any child who shows up to a bus stop without a mask not be admitted onto the bus. Any child who shows up to a building without a mask not be admitted into the building. And any child who takes off their mask in a school building, please have their parents called to have them picked up immediately. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you. And who is next, please?
Next, we have Ryan Mangles.
Oh, Ryan.
Hello, how are you? Sorry about that. Okay. I'm not here. I'm just going to read what I wrote. Okay. So I'm disappointed at the events that unfolded on August 5th here at one of our elementary schools, a school where our youngest and most vulnerable students come to receive their public education, a school where the children are least affected by COVID and most affected by masks. I think the East Brunswick community is owed an apology. We all make mistakes, but can anyone explain why and for what purpose it served for Murphy to choose our elementary school? Did he let you address him, or did he just showboat his political agenda? He endangered the police officers, the community, as well as the public elementary school itself. Murphy is a very divisive politician. He has divided the people of East Brunswick and New Jersey with his rhetoric and name calling. He's gotten one side to live in fear and believe that they are right and righteous, and that the other side is endangering people for being hesitant to take an emergency vaccine or to have masks on their children in school. We have to make sure the teachers don't instill fear in our children by disciplining them over improper mask wearing, forcing them to wear masks when they're not required by order, or sending parents inappropriate emails. We need to spend more time teaching standard education and not grooming our children towards certain ideologies. Ideology should be taught in homes and in places of worship. My children have not been taught to write script or type. Sidney Sugarman, a district court judge in New York, once said, "Teach the children how to think, not what to think." Teach them how to think, not what to think. We cannot let somebody like our governor, who sows fear and division, mandate what is necessary for our children. Murphy does not follow the science. He demonstrated that last year when he said, "I'm just not ready yet." He is inconsistent in his policies on masking. You yourself and the other superintendents of Middlesex County pointed it out in the letter addressed to him at the end of the last school year, yet you still follow his mandates. I can't even imagine what the contact tracing or quarantine policies will be this year. I'm urging the school board at the very least, just the very least, to oppose his mandates and restore the decision-making to you, the Board of Educators. Dr. Valesky, if you and the board decide that you want to have masks on the children in school, let it be your decision alone. Do not take the easy way out and stand behind someone else's decision. There is plenty of support for you in East Brunswick. You have a bunch of good doctors that work here. The mayor is a doctor. You can tap them for any kind of decision and science that you need made. I think the Board of Education with Dr. Valesky should make that decision on what you feel is right for East Brunswick students and not be held under blanket mandates for all of the school in New Jersey. By you accepting this, Murphy has laid down the foundation for other mandates to follow. Do not yourselves climb your own political ladder on the backs of our community and children. Stand up against Murphy, please, or any elected official that would take the decisions away from this board. You say you swore an oath to the government. Governor, please swear an oath to our children that you are charged to. You say you want the community to work together, then allow our board of elected officials to make the decision, not just one power-hungry politician. And I do believe that if the board comes together, I think it'll bring the community together instead of allowing Murphy with more mandates. I honestly, to goodness.
Mr. Mangles, your time is up.
Thank you. And who is next, please?
Next, we have Alexander Spielman.
Hello, Alexander.
Good evening, board and superintendent. My name is Alexander Spielman. I live at 6 Douglas Road, East Brunswick. I am an alumni from the class of 2011. Hearing what the governor has stated about our children when it comes to the mask mandate, and seeing that it is now at the decision of the board to do such things from the next school year, I am concerned for the students' physical and mental capabilities and safety due to the fact that we're going to be doing a blanket mandate on all children, irregardless of informed consent to the parents. And on top of that, also making it so that we're basically mandating it to the children without even considering their own medical histories and other forms of health. Doing this is going to be extremely dangerous because what may be beneficial for one child may be detrimental to another. And the last thing we need is an issue where we're having a negative reaction to these things until such time as we have proper science and data, which has never been promoted or presented by us locally, statewide, federally, or by any health provider that has suggested these things. This decision should be coming from a parent and their medical professionals who are dealing with that child, and should not be coming from government officials or board members who may be doing these things either out of fear or through compliance by some other special offering. Have a good evening.
Thank you. And who is next to speak to the board, please?
Next, we have Shannon Christie.
Good evening, Shannon.
Hi, good evening. I would like to just address my concerns. So my daughter is going to be 3 in October, and she has a speech delay, and she would be entering the program for children with learning disabilities. And when I speak to the district, they talk to me about her speech therapy. Now, with the mask mandates coming up, they talk about how during those sessions, she will be, as a 3-year-old who was not vaccinated, during those sessions, her mask will be off. Now, and her speech pathologist will also have her mask off. And then also with these mask mandates, it states for lunch and music. My daughter is 3. I'm immune compromised, and we live in a generational home. My daughter is now going to be exposed. So with her learning disabilities, with other children who are in the school, with no remote, learning option this year, I'm now put in a position where my daughter's learning, is going to be put on. I mean, I have other options for her speech, but, her health is at risk because I have to make the choice, because there's no model or anything that I'm being told other than that mask will be off for an hour in that building, where you're saying it's mandated that mask needs to be put on. So it's a little misunderstanding for me, because she's 3 years old and I am petrified for her life, because you guys are saying this is running rapid, it's mandated, and I need to put, she is going into school and it's mandated, but it's going to be off for an hour for these sessions that she is going into school for this support for her learning. And then I'm also concerned for those speech pathologists who are there to help me and to help her aid in that learning. So I'm also scared about the spread in that. So I'm just a little confused on that, because my daughter then will be coming home potentially spreading to I don't know who, if that's the issue. So I just wanted to have that be addressed, and more information on that, because when I asked the child study team, they just let me know that the mask will be off for those sessions.
Mrs. Christie, I'm sorry, your time is up now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bernie, who is next to speak to the board, please?
We now have Wendy Siegel.
Hello, Wendy.
Hi, guys. While I sat before you a year ago pleading with you to help for the teachers and the students, I've been dealing with a severe immunocompromised diagnosis for my youngest child. I'm here today to thank you for following a state mandate. I don't know why we're even arguing this tonight. I had hoped I was coming here to find out what the day now looks like, because I now have to figure out my kid can't be around other kids if their masks aren't on. So I'm trying to figure out what the day looks like. And I don't know why we're even discussing a point that we're following what our governor has said. And I'm kind of terrified because we're all acting like it's just business as usual and COVID wasn't that bad for kids last year. And Delta looks like it's going to be a nightmare. So I'm hoping at some point in this meeting, we hear about what the day is going to look like. I thank you. Actually, in my circle of life, I talk about how I stood before you last year begging and pleading, and the kids were safe. And at the end of the day, I can say my superintendent, my board of ed did what was right, and the students were safe, and the teachers were safe. Please, good Lord, I understand you can't just make a virtual option appear without the governor's approval. There are immunocompromised children that we don't have any choices now. You want to talk about sides and discussions? There is no family choice. If I want my child to have an education, I just have to be terrified that the heavy medication she has to be on, she's not going to get sick. So thank you for doing what's right and doing what a state mandate and the state we live in. Please, please don't let anybody sway you either way. I need to know that my children are going to be safe this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And again, anyone with concerns about a specific child or staff member can absolutely get in touch with Dr. Valesky's office tomorrow, whenever you'd like, and he will make sure that you get answers to your questions.
Mrs. Becker, we have no one else in the queue.
We have no one else in the queue.
Correct.
And seeing none, I close the public portion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I stepped away for a second. I was wondering if I could, please.
This is not how we conduct the meeting. So, Mrs. Becker,
I'm sorry.
This individual is saying that they had stepped away. They had not texted to speak until after you closed the public portion. It's your call.
I understand that sometimes we get called away from things, and we're all people and parents. So was that Lisa?
Lisa Gervich.
Okay.
Yes,
Lisa,
yes.
Yes, Lisa. Well, I'll take
I'm sorry.
no, that's okay. I understand. And again, for future meetings, I want to encourage you, please make sure you get in the queue.
Yes, I will.
But yes, we certainly will have 3 minutes for you, but then the public portion is closed.
Okay. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I'd just like to say that I'm coming to this. First of all, I don't understand why this is even subject to a debate, given the fact that there is a state mandate where the governor of our state has taken information from medical professionals to implement the mask mandate. I have personal experience. I teach in a neighboring district that was open for full days last year, and we wore our masks for full days. Our students wore our masks for full days, and we had and I have a child with special needs who's able to wear one. I teach children with special needs, and even the children in the autism program in my school district were able to keep their masks on for the day without any issues. The school day felt very normal. Our students were really the number one comment I heard from the students when we returned to school was just, I'm so happy to be back. That was really, the number one priority really was, we need to just, to get our students back to school, and we need to get our students back to school in a safe manner. We spent our summer, we just returned. We've been in Canada for the summer because our family lives there. My teen daughter worked as a camp counselor. They still have much stricter masking rules there. She worked as a camp counselor where she was, she's 17, and she was required to wear a surgical mask for the full day because that's the provincial rule in Ontario. And she said they didn't even notice it. And they were very physically active. She was clocking, walking about 5 miles a day, at her job, wearing a mask. They're going back to school, the same week that we are there. And there is absolutely no public debate about the mask mandate that they're going to be implementing in their schools. And people that, we talk to there think it's crazy. But we really, I don't want to be in and out of school this year. As a teacher, it was very disruptive. It's incredibly disruptive to our children, especially those children who need, who really need to be there the most. And, I implore you to follow the state mandate so that we can open up and so that our children can attend school safely this year. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you again to everyone who came and spoke to the board tonight. Moving on with our agenda. First, we have our Board of Education items. Before I ask to combine items 1 through 6, is there anything that anyone would like separated out? Seeing none, can I please have a motion for items 1 through 6 on our Board of Education? Moved by Lori, second by Jeff. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Colangelo.
Yes.
Mrs. Chu.
Yes.
Mr. Sismar.
Yes.
Mrs. Guas.
Yes.
Mr. Hong.
Yes.
Mrs. Lax. Mrs. Reese.
Yes.
Mr. Winston.
Yes.
President Becker.
Yes, motion carries. Moving on to our curriculum agenda, before I ask for a motion to combine items 1 and 2, is there anything anyone would like separated out? Seeing none, can I please have a motion for items 1 and 2 on our curriculum agenda? Moved by Jeff, second by Lori. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Moving on to our facilities. No, I'm so sorry. Yes, no,
That's right.
facilities, correct. Misread my own handwriting. Very sad. Moving on to our facilities agenda, we have one item on the agenda tonight. Can I please have a motion for item number 1? Moved by Lori, second by Li Wu. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. For our financial services agenda, before I ask for a motion to combine items 1 through 9, is there anything anyone would like separated out? Seeing none, can I please have a motion for items 1 through 9 on the financial services agenda? Moved by Lori, second by Mark Carangelo. Board members, again, please make sure you have your microphone on if you want to move or second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Colangelo.
Yes.
Mrs. Chu.
Yes.
Mr. Sismar.
Yes.
Mrs. Guas.
Yes.
Mr. Hong.
Yes.
Mrs. Lax. Mrs. Reese.
Yes.
Mr. Winston.
Yes.
President Becker.
Yes, motion carries. Moving on to our human resources agenda. Before I ask to combine items 1 and 2, is there anything anyone would like separated out? Seeing none, can I please have a motion for items 1 and 2 on our HR agenda?
So moved, Jeff.
Moved by Lori, second by Jeff. Is there any discussion? Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Colangelo.
Yes.
Mrs. Chu.
Yes.
Mr. Sismar.
Yes.
Mrs. Guas.
Yes.
Mr. Hong.
Yes.
Mrs. Lax.
Yes.
Mrs. Reese.
Yes.
Mr. Winston.
Yes.
President Becker.
Yes, motion carries. Moving on to our staff development agenda, before I ask for a motion to combine items 1 and 2, is there anything anyone would like separated out? Seeing none, can I please have a motion for items 1 and 2?
So moved, Jeff.
Moved by Jeff, second by Lori. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Moving on to our student services agenda, before I ask for a motion to combine items 1 through 3, is there anything anyone would like separated out? Seeing none, could I please have a motion for items 1 through 3?
So moved.
Move, Mark.
Moved by Lori, second by Mark too.
Yep.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Colangelo,
Yes.
Mrs. Chu,
Yes.
Mr. Sismar,
Yes.
Mrs. Guas,
Yes.
Mr. Hong,
Yes.
Mrs. Lax, Mrs. Reese,
Yes.
Mr. Winston,
Yes.
and President Becker.
Yes, motion carries. We have one item on our transportation agenda tonight. Can I please have a motion for that one item?
So moved.
Moved. Second by Mark.
Moved by Lori, second by, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Was that Lee Wu?
Yes.
Second by Lee Wu. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. I believe we have Nora, our student rep, with us tonight. Lou, is that correct? Nora?
Mrs. Becker,
No,
I
I do
don't
not
see.
believe Nora is here today.
No,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought I had received an email saying she was coming. No worries. Nora, we look forward to seeing you at the next board meeting. Time for committee reports, information items, and for the good of the cause for the board. Any board members have anything they wish to bring up? Mark Sismar.
Today we had our security committee meeting. I don't give details, but we discussed the school opening. I just wanted to start by thanking all of our SSOs and the entire security team. They do a fantastic job every day protecting our children, parents, and visitors. Special thanks to our superintendent, Dr. Valesky, our assistant superintendent, Dr. Figueroa. Our director of security is Paul Natalicio. And our newest member is our coordinator of school safety operations, Kevin Zebro. And I would be remiss, I know he got some accolades earlier, but he deserves special accolades today. If people knew the job Mr. Giuliana did to secure our schools and get the equipment we need, and the research he does is definitely an integral part of the team. And I wanted to separate him out because he doesn't look for accolades. He just gets the job done. So thank you to the entire team. And I hope we have a great school year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sismar.
Thank you, Mark. And again, echoing your words, we do have a fantastic group of people keeping our children, staff, visitors safe. And yes, Mr. Giuliana, you do a tremendous job. So that's 2 compliments in one meeting. Actually 3.
I'm putting them all in a bag here.
Yes, treasure it. It may not happen again.
I'm waiting for the downside now.
Any other board members? Mark Colangelo.
I want to ask a question regarding masks in terms of some masks work better than others. Is there any way that we can secure the type of masks that the students wear, or give out the N95s, the ones that are better? You know, so some parents will bring them, you know, have the children come with some masks that don't work well. So to ensure their safety, would it be an idea to have the students in, you know, uniform type of mask that actually works well? I know it's a, you know, costly thing, but just wanted to throw that out there.
President Becker, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Mr. Carangelo, the district has quite a vast array and supply of masks, and they are distinctive based on the use. So our nurses have specific masks they use. We have replacement masks for students. Should they get on the bus or try to get on the bus without a mask or come into school without a mask, we'll have a replacement mask for them. They tend to be the more disposable masks for the students. So what we saw last year is most parents would send their students to school with a specific mask that they had researched that was best fit for their child. I know some of them even have pockets inside for disposable filters. So that's a parent choice. There are guards that go behind the mask that some students and staff prefer that allows them to speak more freely. But I want to make a comment too about our special education population. We do have face shields for our staff, and we have barriers for our staff when they're working with students in situations like speech pathology and speech therapy, to be able to actually visualize what a student's doing, and so the student can see them as well. So we do have protective barriers in place, and I did hear that concern expressed tonight, and I'll have the special education department reach out to that parent specifically.
I appreciate that. Thanks. And you said something important about the children being able to speak. Is there any way we can make a recommendation to the parents to say, hey guys, this is the better mask that the children could wear to school, and maybe research that?
We actually, Mr. Carangelo, we found the parents actually did the research on their own, and the students themselves came to school with masks their parents had vetted for them, what was the best fit, what was more comfortable for them. So we really didn't get any complaints from students about, the mask was uncomfortable, didn't work right. Parents took great care to make sure the mask was fitted right, that the students were comfortable, that it was clean, and if it was disposable mask, that it was replaced, on a routine basis. So I think that the parents were great partners with us last year, and I suspect the same this year.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah.
Any other board members, committee reports, information items for the good of the cause for the board? Is anyone raising their hand and I don't see you? Susanna, was that a stretch? Okay, that was a stretch. Okay. We do have a need to go into closed session, whereas the Board of Education must discuss matters which are not appropriate for discussion in a public meeting. And the Board of Education intends to discuss matters as follows. Those items listed in tonight's agenda. The length of the closed session is estimated to be 1 hour, after which a public meeting of the board shall reconvene and action may be taken. Can I please have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Lori, second by Lee Wu. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Board members, please log out and log into the closed session. For those of you who are joining us tonight, thank you so much and have a good evening.
Thank you.